Starting out fresh in any game is both exciting and kind of nerve-wracking. There are so many choices. What should my starting zone be? What's the best way to start on the right foot? It can get super overwhelming and sometimes frustrating, and it doesn't have to be that way at all. Hey there, John Henry here, SSFTG. Welcome to the video. If you haven't watched any of our material before, make sure to drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our new content coming out almost every day. I know I usually cover the more advanced topics in analytics with Upland, but I wanted to take a step back and kind of take a step back to the basics to help out the newer explorers to the game, as well as people who are just looking to level up very quickly to pro status or even higher. Maybe it's a Spark week, or maybe there's some kind of promotion going on where you get bonuses for leveling. Make sure to stick around for the entire video too for all of the information you need to succeed in Upland and one of my favorite strategies to level up to pro really fast. First off, Upland is a play-to-earn metaverse game, or what could be considered now part of the GameFi sector. The idea and concept of the game is in virtual real estate, based on the real world and real locations and landmarks that people can buy and hold for earnings, sell for profit, add to collections for API boosters, all kinds of cool stuff. The game and its overall direction is heading in some crazy awesome directions. There's vehicles coming to Upland, there's sports team legits, those are NFTs that are part of the NFLPA. There are landmarks and live auctions, meta venture shops that are coming now. So for this one though, I'm going to try to keep it to the basics. We're not going to get into all the crazy stuff, just the basics about Upland. When you first join Upland, you're going to be a visitor. And a visitor is someone whose net worth is less than 10,000 UPX. You can always see your net worth at the top left corner by clicking on your Explorer's picture icon, and you'll be able to see it right in there. So if I go back and I click on my Explorer's picture in the top left, you'll see right here that I am at a director status. But if I click on this, this will give you a breakdown of all of the different ones. So a visitor here is where you can see all of the different things that visitors get and don't get, and all of the things that come along and perks that come along with each level. The key takeaway as a visitor to Upland is that you have to log in at least once a week to ensure that your account doesn't get recycled and you lose all your stuff. That would be a really sad day. The best way to prevent this is to upgrade your account to the Uplander status here, because when it goes to an Uplander status, that becomes a permanent account on the EOS blockchain. To do this, it's a simple matter of raising your net worth over 10,000 UPX, so that becomes kind of goal number one pretty quick. When you first start in Upland, you will also need to pick your starting city. As of recording this, LA just released. Because of that, they have the most unminted properties at some of the most competitive prices, so that would be the best bet at this point in time. But depending on when you're watching this, things may have changed a little bit, so we need to know how to check this as well, and the best way to check it is to use UPXLand.me to search for unlocked only FSA properties with a minimum price over 500 UPX, so that way we don't get a bunch of those oddball bugged properties that are set to 0. So when we swing over into UPXLand.me, what you want to go to is the properties search on the left side of the panel. And what we're going to be doing here is starting off and finding different zones. Now, like I said, for me during this recording, I know that Los Angeles just came out and has the most opportunities in terms of pricing. But let's go through this, right? So what we want to do is set this to Los Angeles, and we want to set the status to unlocked. That way they are actually mintable, you're able to actually purchase them. But the FSA option, we only want FSA properties, and we want to sort these by mint price. Now, like I said, I like setting a minimum filter of 500 here, just so we don't get bugged properties or those oddball ones that are technically free but not for sale yet. That gets those off the search parameters. And then we can click search, and this is going to sort everything by lowest to highest. And here we can see in Broadway, Manchester, we can get some properties at $46.64. That's not a bad minting price at all. It's about $4.66. Now remember, there are fees associated with everything in terms of crypto and really life in general. But if we were to purchase these or mint them, there is a 5% fee. So it's $46.64 times the 1.05, meaning that these would be $4,897 or $898 they're probably going to round up or down. I always round up, worst case scenario. And it's going to be just underneath the starting 5,000 UPX balance that you begin with, which is perfect for people who don't want to invest any money at all. So all we have to do to locate this property, now that we've found the address, is simply take the address over here. We'll copy this. We'll go back into Upland, and we'll use the search feature over in the bottom right and drop the address in. We can enter, and that will bring us into, hopefully, the right place. Let's drop this in, and we should see a blank FSA property if this did it correctly, and there it is. So when I click on this, this should be the one that we were looking for. 127 West 86th PL. We've got 46.64 on the minting price. We can take a look at the street view to see if there is one, if it looks interesting or not. Sometimes that can be a booster in sale value, by the way. But this is the property that we're looking for. Now again, we can also use this search feature, and I'll come back to these properties in a second, but we can use this search feature to search anywhere. There are not many unminted properties elsewhere. As an example, Brooklyn, Fresno, there aren't any there. But if we were to go to somewhere that's a little bit more recent, like Kansas City as an example, we can search only FSA by mint price, all of the same parameters. We'll do a search here, and we can see that the lowest mintable price is $7,448, so it's a little bit more expensive over in Kansas City. That's really all there is to it in terms of locating where we want to mint them. Once we find them, take the address, paste it in, and then we know where to go. Now, in this case, my Explorer is already in Los Angeles because, again, it just came out and is actually still in process of launching the northern portion as well. So there's going to be a lot of things going on here and a lot of action, and that's why I'm here. So I won't need to fly or travel or do anything else. And that's an important note to make because it does cost UPX to travel in the game. Even if I wanted to, let's say, click on this property and send here. Right? If I wanted to send my Explorer here, it's going to cost me 50 UPX to do that because this is a blockchain-based game. This is me sending here is something that is taking place on the blockchain. So there has to be a cost associated with it. It's just how it works. A purchase comes with 5%, selling comes with 5%, withdrawing to USD comes with 5%. There's always a fee, but more often, every single time with Upland, there's a box or something that tells you exactly what that fee is going to be. So as an example, I'm not able to mint FSA properties, but if I go over here and I look and see this person is charging 50 UPX to send to their property, how about these guys? They're charging 50 UPX to send there. How about here? They're charging 50 UPX. I'm trying to find a cheaper one so I don't feed the gougers, but it doesn't look like I'm going to have a choice. I think we're surrounded by them. We've got 50. How about up here? Is there any cheaper? 50 and 50. Looks like 50 is going to be the floor, and that's about all we've got to work with. Okay, fine. So if we wanted to look at these properties, what I can do is I can send to here, and it's going to say I have 10 sends left. Now, if you just started the game, you may have not as many, right? You may start with 3, but this does reset every day, and I've got videos that go over how to get more sends as well, so make sure to watch those. But let me send here really quick. All right, there goes my Explorer on off into the property. Now, again, my personal net worth in this case is over the bracket. I can't actually mint these properties, but once we get there, they will light up in this bright lime green color here, and when I click on them, then I can mint them. Now, again, I can't because my net worth is over 100,000, but for a newer person who's not in that situation, then they would be able to mint this, and I can go in here, and you can see it's not going to give me any details because I can't, but you would be able to mint this at 46.64 plus 5%. Now, it won't even let me look at it, so 46.64 plus the 5%, we already did that math, is right here. Now, depending on the lowest minting price available, we have something to consider here. When you first join Upland, if you use the referral link, you get a 50% bonus to your first UPX purchase. If you go over 100,000 UPX net worth, though, we can't buy FSA properties anymore. So what's the best approach? What's the best bang for our buck, if you will? The same cost as any other game at Walmart, that would be $49.99, right? If you look at the Get UPX thing here, there is an option at $49.99, and that gets you 50,000 UPX. Now, by going that route at 50,000 UPX, you would get a 50% bonus, which is 25,000 UPX, so you would have a net total of 75,000 UPX after the bonus. That means that you keep your ability to purchase FSA and have a nice padding to work with to get started with, kind of the best of all worlds. Do you need to invest in Upland to win? No, of course not, right? This is you can start right from scratch and just keep logging in, flipping them, treasure hunting for profit, whatever you need to do. It is not necessary to invest in the game. Now, will it save you time and speed up your journey in the game? 110%, yes it will. So again, once we send our explorer there to the ready-to-be minted property, that should light up in a bright lime green like we see here, and that just means that you're in range and you're ready to mint them. When you mint a property, basically what that means is nobody else has owned it before. It's a totally fresh, brand new, hot off the presses and onto the blockchain virtual real estate NFT. After a few seconds of minting it, it'll settle on the chain, and you will have your very first property NFT in your portfolio. Now, let's get to business here because we want to earn some UPX, and the assumption is that there's a spark week or something going on, and our goal is to level up relatively quickly. Now, if you did decide to invest in the game and you bumped your account with the $50, you should have a 5,000 starting UPX balance, which you get when you start the game, plus the 50,000 UPX purchased, plus the 25,000 UPX bonus, giving you 80,000 UPX to play with, which is 20,000 under the 100K mark, meaning that we can still purchase FSA properties at those juicy discounted prices. The goal then is to flip to the floor. That basically means that if you're able to mint under the current secondary market floor price, whatever the difference is, less the fees, of course, is your profit. Let's expand on this a little bit further, right? So let's say, as an example, we have our 80,000 UPX budget, and we'll just say it's a 79,000 UPX budget to budget for some travel and all of that stuff, assuming that you started in LA and you don't have to pay for plane tickets or anything. We can take that 79,000 and we can minus or divide it now by the 46.64 minting cost, and that gives us 16 properties that we can mint, rounding down. 16 properties at 46.64 is 74,624, but remember, there's a 5% fee on every single one of them, so we have to make sure that that fits under the 80,000. We add 5% to that, and we can still see that it fits at 78,355.2. So fully investing in this case, $78 or so, 78,000 UPX, that would leave you a couple thousand UPX left over, and you would be fully invested in some FSA properties. But let's take a step back here and zoom out a little bit further and see what is the floor, right? What do I mean by floor? Well, if we zoom way, way out so we can see all of the area that we are trying to flip in this case, this is Los Angeles, so I zoom all the way out in what we can see, and I click this little building icon here, this will show me the lowest price. I want to find the lowest UPX price on the list. I'm sure there's one here somewhere. There we go. So 8,972. Now, remember, we were just talking about minting them at 4,664. So this is what I mean by flipping to the floor. If we were to take that same math, right, let me open up a new calculator here. We open up a new calculator, and we take that same value. We've got 16 properties that we have, and we take those and sell them at 8,900, right? Let's make it easy. We got to go under the floor to make sure that we're on top of the list. So we sell them at 8,900. That's 142,400 minus the 5%, right? Remember, there's a 5% fee on the sell side too. There's always a 5% fee basically, so just build it in. That means that we have 135,280 from the initial 78,355.2. That's a really, really fast way if you're just flipping to the floor, minting at a base price because of those FSA features and discounts and all that fun stuff. Now, of course, it doesn't always flip out super quickly, and you have to sit on them for a little while. That does happen, right? That's just part of the game, so to speak. But, you know, if you have to sit on them for a little while, but really being at or below the floor on the secondary market, you're not going to be sitting on them for very long. It's very unlikely that the floor is going to go much lower after it's already dove beyond the property city launch, right? So because they're going to be priced so competitively to everything else and you have so much flexibility between the floor and your purchase price, they're going to be rolling out of inventory pretty quickly. It's usually not going to be much of an issue. Once those properties sell, like we did the math there, you should be straight up to the pro status, if not maybe even a little bit further. And if you're doing this during a Spark week or one of those weeks where there's incentives or perks or bonuses, you have the entire week to level up and get those properties to flip and gain some massive Spark bonuses along the way to use on other projects, other ventures, buildings if you want to build them on your properties, all kinds of awesome stuff. That's going to do it for this one. I hope this helps you in getting up to your pro status and maybe even further. Those Spark rewards during the Spark weeks are super tasty, and if this helps you get a few in your bag, I'm a happy camper. If you aren't in Upland yet, this guide is your sign and is about the best time to join in and get rocking. You can click the referral link in the description to get registered and so that you can get your 50% UPX bonus as well on your first purchase. If you do decide to invest more, just remember there is a 50,000 UPX cap on the bonus, and you only get that bonus if you use the link to register. Have an amazing time out there growing your stacks and leveling up your explorers. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the metaverse.